you've often said that all the Lovin brands are in the same tier as The Sun, TMZ, Lad Bible, Barstool Sports maybe. It's been built around the Buzzfeed model or the Clickbait model. You've not tried to go international like the New York Times. You try to say local like a tabloid like the New York Post maybe. There's a focus on growth hacking, wild content, memes, all of that. Once again, all these terms are going over my head. So I would love it if you can explain it to me. What is the philosophy of this Buzzfeed model or the Clickbait model? What are the defining traits of it?
I love how you said that New York Times was international and others aren't. But look, I could dispute that one. But going back to the point, you started by talking about content. And I think that's a good point to start with. In the last conversation, a topic we discussed was the medium and the modern media.
Right.
Now, if we talk about the media, like what type of media, what content, what stories, and the way we see it is like a media lens. What do you stand for? Is it around a demographic? Is it around a passion point? Is it around a city or a location? And then you can build brands around that. And what I feel is like media or content works well when there's a cohort of behavior or interest. So if someone's interested in a city like Dubai, you can have media around it. If someone's interested in a sport like football, you can have media around it. If someone's interested in a societal issue like female empowerment or environment, you can build media around it, or ethnicity. Or if there's an interest in retail investors of startups, then you can build media around it. So I think that's a lot of the premise around this is like, what's the media lens? What cohorts are you, if you're looking for an audience, are you going to do media around something that no one really cares about? Like, are you going to build a media company based on, I shouldn't say no one really cares about, but are you going to build a media company based on such a niche? And there is a narrative out there that, niches work, and they potentially do, right? But I think, but then what your niche is, and whether it's a mainstream media or a niche media, and that's also intentional. Like when you mentioned these reference points that I used before, like tabloids, part of that is to sort of explain that I see this as mass media. I see this as populist mass media. Whether the tabloid term was coined by the English-Irish type guy who did the Daily Mail. Like tabloid is something to do with France and whatever. I don't know what it is, but he got it in about 1905, 1906. And it was just shorter broadsheet. It was just shorter newspaper. So, and then it became to, based on content and how it evolved, it had other connotations. But there are people in the US now who founded modern media companies like Axios, Semaphore, Puck, even Politico, and these sort of innovators. Some of them have written books and trademark terms like smart brevity, short bullet points. Some people tell me in the region that people don't read. They do. Like you don't get rid of text. You just use it visually in a different way, right? Like you can consume text in bullet points and smart brevity in shorter time because the device that you're consuming on it, the space is smaller. It's not that we don't read. It's just the environment has changed. The time has changed. The speeds of consumption has changed. So going back to the point about choosing the media and choosing the content, I wouldn't necessarily answer the clickbait and the attention model in the same way as the media lens. I would say what we've done under Augustus Media is said we want to be the modern media company of choice in the Middle East and North Africa. We're going to do that with sub-brands. So if Unilever say they're going to do something and then their sub-brands have nothing to do with Unilever, they have, brands within brands. Like Apple has sub-brand strategy. We have a sub-brand strategy. We have two mass consumer brands, one called SMASHI, one called Lovin. Lovin is a Lovin's a horizontal brand, city horizontal. So we never do Lovin Sports, Lovin Food. We just do the city. It's in 22 cities across the region. 8 or 9 of them are doing well, alhamdulillah. And, the rest we want to grow. And then SMASHI, we designed it with verticals. So we decided to do SMASHI Business and 13 verticals, crypto, sports, things like that. We might evolve that in the future. I think one of the mistakes we made is we focus a lot on medium, on streaming, and the subscription model and different things. And we called it a streaming service instead of calling it what it is, a content platform. And I like that you use that phrase because if we can get the content platform right, and then you pick the mediums that people are going to be on over time. SMASHI Business is consumed not on the smart TV app. SMASHI Business is consumed as a podcast, as a newsletter, and vertical video on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram. That's where it's consumed. But the media lens, the verticals is one part of it. Like we focus on SMASHI Sports, SMASHI Business, but the key lens, like what we decide, what makes it strong is that tagline that makes sense to us, which is for the driven, the dreamers, the doers, to build a brand that resonates with a young cohort in the region who want economic prosperity, never mind what the Western world says about them. It's that sort of, can you create heroes here? And is there a media brand that champions here, right? And Lovin does that too. Like inshallah, when Saudi Arabia win a gold medal in the Olympics, they never have. Is that going to be on Lovin Saudi, Balarabi, Lovin Riyadh, or SMASHI Sports? Probably all three, but it might be done in a different vibe, in a different way. So that's what we've done. Now, if you're doing what you're doing here in this show, this is niche, but it's also relevant to that sort of driven dreamers do, so it can become mass. It hits that spot, depends on your demographic, and it's also in that sort of medium area of podcast, video, digital consumption, and then the shortcuts as well. So basically, you're doing the same thing. Like rather than someone, and I know you did it for an experiment, but you're actually already behind the camera, you're already doing both of those things. And, I know you started like 4 or 5 years ago, but this is how the modern media companies are happening now. Content-led creators with a thesis, producing things where people are consuming content. And so that's what I mean. Like maybe some of the things that we've done have already become traditional, and how do we keep up with the change as well? And then why have we decided to stick with brands rather than have creators as the lead on it as well? And that's just a choice.